In this lesson, we'll finish up the head. So we've got the eye area completed. Let's go ahead and kind of finish this up. I've turned off the symmetry so that we can access kind of the inside of the mouth here. I'm going to tweak this geometry a little bit just because looking at this, I want to have a geometry that kind of flows around the back of this jaw. We've got geometry for the inside of this mouth, but the topology right here is not exactly what I might want. So let me go ahead and grab the geometry, and then we'll go to knife, and I'm going to use the line, and I'll just use single. I'm going to come in from this corner, bring a line down, and then from here, come straight down here. Now I've got a triangle here, but I could use a little bit more geometry up here. So I'm going to go ahead, I'll turn off single, go from this point to the middle of this line, and then continue up along here until I get to the end. Okay? And now we can come in, and if we want to kind of modify the position of some of these lines, I'll go ahead and take this edge here and just dissolve it. Okay. Kind of move this geometry back a little bit. And you can see we have a triangle. If you want to take that out, you could add another line coming up in here and around. You could add a line coming up into the corner of the mouth if you wanted to, or you could leave the triangle. You could also bring it maybe down coming in here. I'm going to go ahead and leave it for now. If we need to change that up later, we can. Okay. I now want to add a little bit of detail around the kind of the back of this jaw. So right now you can see where this is kind of defining the back edge of that. And so I'm going to go ahead and take these faces here, and let's go kind of all the way up here. I'm going to take these and let's go ahead and extrude those out just a little bit. So extrude. We're going to just pull them out slightly. Okay. Nope. I actually want to have one more face selected. So kind of pull that out slightly. Okay. And sorry, let me go ahead. I just want to have enough around this to kind of bring this out, but I want to get enough on the forward portion of this to be able to blend back in. And I'm really, if I don't select these, I'm really not getting enough. I'm blending it right at the front of this, and I want to have still a little bit of a division there. So I want to select something like this. Okay, just want to get kind of all the way around it. I think that looks good. Okay, so we'll pull that out. And then towards the front here, I want to start to weld these points back together. So selecting these points, go ahead and weld, and I'll weld them back to the surface. And it's like I had a little bit something selected that I didn't really want selected. So just make sure I've got only those 2 points selected, and weld it back into the side of the head. Again, weld it, and I want to select this point. There we go. And the same thing here. And weld. Okay. And then you just want to go around sort of the front of this extrude and weld those back together. So again, advantage of polygons, you can pull geometry out, and then portions of it you want to kind of connect back together. You can do that real readily. Okay, come around and do this one. Again, just clicking on that point. So let me go ahead and finish welding all of the front points of this. Okay, I've got the front points welded. We can now take those points back along the sides, and we can start to blend them a little bit more. I want there to be the most division back here along the base of this jaw, so that this kind of comes out a little bit more. You get a little bit more of that bone kind of a look and division. You can see kind of the back of the bone there, the base of the jaw. Come back here and kind of thicken that up a little bit. Same thing here. Kind of grab this point, pull it back and in a little bit so we get that sort of width of the bone. And then here, kind of pull this out a little and forward a bit. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and bring this part of the neck in. This jaw, I'm going to stick out a little bit more. All right. Okay, so kind of bringing that jaw out and give us a little bit of geometry inside there. Now for the inside of the mouth, I want to actually come in and extrude that in. Okay. And so the first thing I'll do is select those faces. So I just want to select basically the interior faces of the mouth here. Select all the way down to the front. So you end up with a selection that is something like that. Okay. So let's go ahead and do an extrude inner. And we'll add a little bit of thickness to it. So we want to add the thickness of the mouth there. Okay. So something like that's pretty good. Now, we don't necessarily need these faces on the inside because we're working, again, symmetrically. And so we can come in and start to get rid of these faces. And let me go ahead and choose the selection options. And I just want to make sure that I'm only selecting that face. Okay, so now we can go around and delete these interior faces. Of course, we need to snap the line there. And you can see that we had the angle off here, so it actually extruded the inside of this, and it kept. You can see it did the top sort of separately from this part. So if that happens, you can fix it just by going into your knife, and you can draw across here. Okay, and you can do the same thing over here on the other side. Just grab the knife, cut up across there. All right, and now we can continue and delete these polygons, and then the polygons on the interior here. There, and all the way down here. Okay? Just because we're working symmetrically. And now we can take all those points on the inside and snap them over to the origin. So let me go ahead and do that. Okay, so I've snapped those now to the origin, so they're back in the center. Okay. I still want to come in here, clean this up. Okay, so I can go ahead and select this edge and this edge up at the top here. Okay, and then we can go ahead and get rid of these edges as well. That one, and then that one, and then we're good to go. Okay, so now we have this geometry with that extra edge that'll give us kind of the rim of our mouth. So let's select everything inside that rim. Again, basically the same selection we had earlier, except we've cleaned up the inside of it, where it kind of goes to the center of our symmetrical object here. Okay, so we've got that selected. Let's go ahead now and do an extrude. And we want to pull it up into the mouth a little bit to create that sort of opening. Now you can see here, and this is an illustration of what happened last time, you can see where we've got the angle here. So I'm going to go ahead and increase that maximum angle, and that will allow us to get a nice clean extrude versus what we had last time, which that we had to kind of clean up. Okay, so I'll kind of extrude that up. Okay, and now again, we need to come in and get rid of those polygons that are in the center, because we really don't need those at all. Okay, so let me go ahead and get rid of these. And so this is kind of creating the opening or the interior of the mouth where we can put the tongue and the teeth and things like that. Okay, so now we have sort of the rim of the mouth, the opening there. Now if you want to create this sort of skin flap that we see kind of in here, we can come in and do that as well. Okay, but let's go ahead and do that in the next lesson, and we'll also add in the nostril. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do that next.